Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the No Cover TV podcast. Look who's in the house right next to me. Terry Dan's in the house. There he is. We're going to chat in just a minute. But first, I want to talk to each and every one of you out there in the podcast land. Thank you for checking out the No Cover TV podcast and also the TV show back in the day when we were on TVs for all those years and the DJing when I was on radio for a little bit. Now podcast. We have a lot of fun. And check out all the audio shows that are on Spotify, which are now transferred here to YouTube. Check out all these great video shows we're doing on YouTube. Because what's great about these video shows is I get into the head of these artists. And the best thing, Big Al doesn't edit anymore. So what happens. It's great. It's wonderful. And you love it. You know, when we did it on TV and the guys fell off the stage or in their drums, ratings went up. Oh, yeah. So anyways, thank you to each and every one of you out there for watching. I do have to say thanks some other people here. Let me get my list. It's a little bit not long, but I got to thank these people. I need to say a big thank you to Sandra out there from De La Parra Entertainment. She's been sending me great artists, and please keep sending me artists. If you're with an agency, a PR group, entertainment, record company, label, send your artists my way. I want to get in their heads. I want to get their music and their story out around the world where it needs to be, like I've been doing for the last 30 years. Next would be Zeus and Zoe's Management and Entertainment. Thank you, Zeus. And we've got Around the Clock PR. We've got SBM Global Media. We got Legion Entertainment. And we got Kaipo Entertainment. I want to thank you for sending me your artists. Wonderful artists. Great shows. Thank you very much. All right, people. I got to get my breath here. What's my next thing I'm going to say? What's my 3 favorite words, people? Let's say it all together. Support, 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 support these artists. Go to their shows, pay their cover charge if there is one, then get to that swag table. Get a CD, an album, T-shirt, a hoodie, a bumper sticker, keychain, coffee mug. Oh, my. It goes on. Then get out to that stage and enjoy yourself. And stay after the show if you can and meet these wonderful artists. You get an autograph. You never know what's going to happen. Most of these artists are going straight to the top. Straight to the top. Remember, these artists right here love doing what they're doing to put a smile on your face. And your smile in return kicks right back to them and puts a big old grin and smile on the artist's face. It's a wonderful thing. Music makes the world go around. Ah, yes. So let's get to our show. Let's not make Terry wait anymore. Terry Dan, how you doing, my friend? Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Big Al. It's really good to be here. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, great. We're going to have a lot of fun. You're a very interesting gentleman. You've done a lot in your career. And so we're going to have fun. We're going to go all over the board today, my friend.
Well, that's good because I've been around the board.
You've been around the board, okay. Yeah. And we might be able to get Terry to play a song for us. He's got a little rusty throat right now because it's the season, you know. Things happen. But if we can, we can. So we'll see what happens later on down the road. But Terry, I don't know if you've seen the interviews at all, but first, people out there know what I like to do. And I want to dive right into that mind of yours, and I want to find some things out.
Okay. If I can, I'll tell you.
Yeah, right. So if I got to label this rated R, let me know now. No, just kidding.
No, I wore pants, so if I stand up, we're okay.
Not on my end. No. So, all right, let's get to our interview here. All right. Now, Terry, you've been in the business for a long time. We're going to go way back. Okay. You started very young. I'm going to take you back to 5, 10 years old when you were listening to what mom and dad had on the radio or phonographs, and what maybe your siblings were listening to. What did you catch on and like at that young age?
Well, I sang in a family religious group when I was first starting out, and I wasn't quite 5 years old. My brother started playing piano when he was 4, and then 4 years old, and he is very, very good now. Today he plays on my albums with me. So
that's beautiful.
Very, very nice. We've been able to keep that up. But when I first got started, we had a family singing group, and we'd go from church to church and singing. My mom was a soprano. My sister was alto. I actually sang and played the bass guitar. My brother played piano, and we just went around. And that's kind of how I got my start in singing in front of people.
Okay.
And then that kind of evolved into when I was becoming of age, and I started playing the string guitar at 10 years old. And I fell in love with Jim Croce in 1973, and it was Chet Atkins before that, and I was sort of baked and steamed in country music in Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay.
I fall asleep with the little the transistor radio earplug
Oh,
in.
right.
I do this because like I had two, but they didn't back in those days. It was only one.
One.
Listen to Bill Mack's Open Road Show on WBAP radio out of Fort Worth, and that's how I'd fall asleep most nights. And
Really?
I'd listen to Johnny Paycheck's Taking This Job and Shoving It, or any other song that came out then. I just loved it, and I just fell in love with country music. And I thought, well, I think I can write some songs. So I started doing what I thought were good songs, but that's kind of how it all started. 10, 11. By the time I was 15 years old, I had my first playing gig, and I just kind of built from there. And I was too young to play in a lot of the clubs, and I couldn't even drive myself to my first gig. But that's kind of how I got.
Walk it, right? Oh,
Now,
jeez.
I'm not saying I was any good at it. I'm just saying that's when I started.
Okay, well, now, okay, you started playing the bass before you were 10 years old?
No, no, I
Oh,
really didn't play any musical instrument at all until I was about 10 years old. So
about 10
all of
years.
that, playing the bass, playing the guitar, singing in the church group, that all sort of happened all at about the same time. So it was an
Okay.
interesting juggle for me.
Okay. Now, let's get a little older. We get into our teens and stuff, and we're in junior high and high school. Did you continue with, the gospel music in the church, or did you go pursue your own musical talent with your
Well,
own?
we were doing the church thing too for a while, and then in high school, my brother and I got involved in the jazz band. So
Oh,
that and taking some music theory courses really sort of broadened my scope, and it
sure.
was really cool to be doing some jazz things that we did popular music with a jazz theme. We played in a 20-piece band. We had a
Oh, wow.
trombone section, a trumpet section, a saxophone section. I was a drummer one year. I was a bass guitar player another year. My brother played the piano, and we toured. We spent in one year. I spent more time on the road than I did in school. And
Really?
we did. It was all school sanctioned. We made up the work, the school work, but it was a school
Right.
sanctioned thing, going out and playing festivals and contests and all kinds of neat things. And by the time I got done with that, I didn't realize how much music I'd learned,
Oh,
and
wow.
was
Yeah, I
able
bet.
to put that in later on in life. What I'm doing even right now, I'm doing a lot of jazz and blues things in my country music, which separates me, I think, from everybody else's sound. So it's a little bit different, and it comes up being now the Jim Croce influence really comes out, and I think also a little bit of a Jimmy Buffettness to the song,
Yeah.
especially with the song "Like It or Not," which is kind of about being on the beach and stuff. So it's a lot of it's just good, solid, good structured music. I think that's really a nice basis for doing what I do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I was listening to your music, and we'll get into that. And I want to say it's more contemporary country because you can't, I don't want to say label it strictly country because you got pop, you got rock, you got jazz, you got blues, you got a little bit of everything going on within those songs, which is great. I love them. Oh, I love them.
Yeah,
So we're going to
I,
talk
I
about
love
this.
I love the difference. I mean, you can go on one album. I have a real country song, and then I have a 12-bar blues. So there, and there's a lot of stuff in between.
Okay. So before 18, you were in a band. Now, when were you touring? What age was that?
That was in high school. So
That was
I did it 17 and 18 years old. Yeah,
okay.
just for the 2 years.
Now 18 comes, life hits us. We got to go get a job. We got to go to college. We got to start a family, whatever.
Yep.
Did you put music aside or were you able to keep on to it when you went into life?
Well, I kind of had to put it aside to get started. At 18, I had to make enough money to pay for a car and think about moving out of the house, and so all of that took a lot of hours that I didn't have. But I did keep up some playing on the weekends, and
Okay.
I also I come from a very very religious family, so playing in bars, some place where they were drinking alcohol and dancing was pretty much frowned upon. So I had to do those things off on my own. I couldn't very well do them while I was still living under mom and dad's roof. So that kind of put the kibosh on that a little bit. And then about 18 years old, I moved out of the house. I moved from Texas, from Denton, Texas, to New Jersey.
Oh,
to
okay.
get in on the beginning of something that do you remember when Dallas, the TV show Dallas was on?
Yes, I do.
That kind of spurred a lot of country and cowboyish
Sure
kind of
did.
things in metropolitan areas like New York. And
Right.
so the Lone Star Cafe became very popular. Country music was becoming very popular. So I went to northern New Jersey and made a base there and did a lot of things out of Philadelphia and New York. Ultimately, what happened was I got played on WABC radio, which
Wow.
was we didn't even expect that. I
No,
released a country singer that had a record that was produced by Don Potter, who eventually went on to play for the Judds. He actually Don Potter was the producer of Dan Hill. Remember the song "Sometimes When We Touch"?
yeah, yeah. Oh,
Don
yeah.
Don produced that one, and
Hey,
Chuck Mangione's trumpet player, Jeff Tyzik, he produced a record for me, and we used the Rochester Philharmonic
oh,
Orchestra in their rhythm section.
that's
And what
beautiful.
it sounded like Eddie Rabbit uh, singing orchestra music, Barry
This
Manilow.
Eddie Rabbit with an orchestra.
But it was a nice thing, and it was a good sound then. You know, everybody had reverb on everything, and it was
Sure.
all 24 track analog, and it was pretty good. And that's what got played in New York. Um,
Wow,
it
that
was
is amazing.
wild, and then I had a country a hit on the IRC, the Independent Record Company charts
Oh, yeah.
that lasted for I think it was a 3 weeks. I was on the charts for that, so we had some success.
I would say so.
And then the money people for the record company got in some legal trouble, and we had to close the record company. So it was
Oh,
kind of a dark little day for me.
over the last, well, 30 years, I put my foot up more labels' asses than I've wanted to. It's just like, just do it right. Treat the artist right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're in business. They've got their bean counters, and I mean, it's even worse now than it was back then. They had the accountants were running things, and they had. I mean, there was a bottom line. They all had to make money, or it would have all fallen apart anyway.
Yeah, and of course, you were back in the day when things were analog. It was about
Mhm.
albums and cassettes and stuff like that. I want to ask this question to you. From back then to what we went through, popping the trunk, passing things out, flyering out, doing all that hard work we did. What do you think about now, where you just got to sit down at the keyboard on the computer, push a few buttons, and your music's everywhere?
Um, well, getting your music out to those is different, is a little bit different now. But I think, and your marketing is different because your media is different. So before now, it was visual media and print. When I say visual, I mean television. So if you were going to you could get on the late night Ronco or Pope Hill Pocket Fisherman sort of a thing
Right.
and you could hear Freddie Fender pushing his, next album, and that was one way of doing it. The other one was radio. Radio was the big thing, and you could go around to the radio stations
Yeah.
with your record. And I did this, and I said, "Hey, can you play this record?" I went. Was in northern New Jersey, so you remember Cousin Brucey, the DJ in New
That was
York.
a long time ago.
Bruce Morrow, he had a radio station right outside of Hackettstown, and we went into him and said, "Listen, this is a good record. We really believe in it. Would you please give it a listen? I think your listeners are going to like this." And he did. He started playing the record. You went around to radio stations and you did that. Now, all the radio stations are owned by the same three companies,
Right.
and
So
there's three
down.
record companies that supply that, and then with Spotify in the mix, and we can talk for 4 hours about
Right.
Spotify.
Yeah. We can just go on and
Oh,
on.
so it's really different now. So yes, to answer your question, you can get your song out there. You just have to go to CD Baby or TuneCore or DistroKid or something like that, and you can pay $20 or $30, and your song goes around the world, and then it sits there without anybody hearing it. Now, this is where the same thing comes in. You've got to promote it, or nobody knows it's there.
Exactly.
Now that's all different because you've got the social media, you've got all of this SEO stuff, the search engine optimization, and the promoters, and there's a lot more charlatans out there now than there were back in my day, so you gotta be
Right.
very careful. You can spend thousands of dollars and not get anywhere. If you do it the right
Oh, yeah.
way, you can, but it takes a lot of work, and it still takes a lot of people to get the promotion, to put your name out there, or you sit and do what I'm doing because 'cause I'm retired now. I don't have to make a living at this. I'm doing this because I love it.
Right.
So what I'm doing is I'm making, videos of all of my music. I'm making lyric videos and putting them out. So even if it's not an action video with, some long flowing
True.
blonde in there and looking sexy and hanging out in a
Right.
bar and drinking back some, those are the action videos. I'm not doing those a lot. I'm doing some of them. Mostly what I'm doing is lyric videos with a nice background of maybe the album cover or some other kind of scene with the lyrics gone. And that goes out, and then I'm also backing that up with a 1-minute video called Just a Minute with Terry Dan, where
Oh,
I
nice.
take less than 60 seconds to explain the meaning of the song that I wrote. And I'm doing
Okay.
that for everyone that I put out there. So you can release those as a YouTube video. You can back that up with any kind of video that you want to support that, and including a short, which is under 60 seconds, and you put that on TikTok and Instagram and all of the ones that'll take a short.
Right,
And
that's what you gotta do.
it's a lot of
Tough.
work. And also radio, because you've got all the DABs, the digital
Internet
broadcast
radios,
stations,
yeah.
and you've got the pirates, and then you've got the ones that are paying royalties, and it still doesn't pay a whole lot, but it's something to get your name out there,
It's
and
to
then
get
pretty
your name.
soon you see the numbers start to go up.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I make sure I tell the musicians, you can be a musician, but you also got to learn the business a little bit, and you got to
Yes.
implement that to get your music out there. Definitely,
Yeah.
just don't be a player and sit
Yes.
back and think it's going to go.
Yeah, it is a business, and you've got to do some marketing. Now, I think it's fun. I'm having a blast making videos, editing videos. I have
Cool.
a recording studio here in my house.
Nice.
Um, I work here until midnight working out ideas, and I'm just doing a brand new album. I just started it this week. So I just sit down here and do these things, and it's fun for me. So I do the marketing. I go on TikTok. I go on Instagram and Facebook, and I publish the videos and I edit them. I write scripts for them, and just there's always
Wow,
something to do. Yeah.
that is cool. Now, there was a point in your life where you just didn't want to do it for a while, did you? You kind of hung those guitars up a little bit, kind of like I did.
Yeah, there was a lot of go walking up and down Music Row in Nashville, pitching the songs, and most people like the songs, and I can recognize a good song, and I know when I write a bad one, and I know when I write a good one, and we went out with our good stuff, and everybody said these are good, but we had things like. Hank Williams Jr. was doing an album. We thought, wow, we're going to get in on this album because they're just putting it together. And so our
Right.
publisher went in there and he came back and he says, well, this is bad news because I forget what the manager for Hank Williams was his name at the time, but he told my publishers, "Well, these are good songs and there's stuff that Hank would probably sing, but I got to tell you, I'm writing all the songs for that album, so we can't use any of these." It was just stuff like that all the time. And then we went into ASCAP and said, "Look, we know these songs will do something. Can you hook us up?" And this is a guy that was running ASCAP at the time before Paul Williams took it over.
Okay.
And I said, "I know you know who would want to record these songs, and all I'm asking is for a little help. Push me in the right direction and let me know who to call, or maybe you can help." And ASCAP did that. They had a department that actually did that.
Okay.
And that guy looked across. He says, "Well, I already wrote all of these songs." Says, "There's you don't have anything new. I've already written everything that you've got in there." And that really pissed me off so bad one day. I walked out of there. I think that's probably what made me just hang it up, because at that point nothing had happened and we got a lot of people just wasting our time. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
I had a computer skill and I was being asked by people to do that. So I thought, okay, I'm going to put bread on the table by doing this computer job. And I still kept going to writers' nights once in a while, but the day job got so creative and so good for me. I was a software developer. and I was having fun developing software, and it was kind of the same fulfillment as developing music.
Oh, nice. That's
I
pretty
said,
cool.
"Okay, I'm gonna do this, and these people are paying my light bill, so I think I'm gonna stay here for a little while."
You're
And
right.
1 year led to 10 years, led to 27 years.
Whoa, 27 years. Beautiful.
27 years. There was a point in time when I didn't even open my guitar case for nearly 10 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
one Christmas, the company I was working for said, We understand you used to be a singer." And I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "Well, could you play at our Christmas party this year?" And my boss was learning how to play the banjo, and one of our VPs could play the guitar very well, and the
Okay.
other one was a violin player, and he said, "I'll play the upright bass. It's just like a violin, it's only bigger."
Right,
So
right.
we had a little bluegrass band there, and we did songs like "Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer," and some other stuff from Brother, Where Art Thou? And
Oh,
it was just really a cool time.
that's
And
fun.
what that made me do was, I think I need to find some of my old demo tapes, because that kind of started a little spark for me. So
Good.
I found the demo tapes, and I pulled you'll know this buzzword, I'm sure. I pulled my Ampex 456 out of the closet and
Oh,
noticed that it had deteriorated.
no, no, no.
Yeah, and so, you know what, that sticky syndrome that it gets after a while. Everybody did it. Anybody that ever recorded used either Ampex 456 or Scotch 206 or 207 and had the same problem with it. Well, the
Yep.
guy at Ampex had discovered that if you bake those at a specific temperature for a specific amount of time, that it will reorient the tape, and it'll dry it out, and you have a couple of weeks to digitize that, and that's what I did. And I
Awesome.
got all my songs back, and some of those songs I'd forgotten all about. And I went down and grabbed my wife and said, "Honey, you gotta come up here and listen to this stuff. Apparently, I wrote something. I have no idea how I
Right,
did."
right. That's great. Very nice.
And so that
That's
kinda
wonderful.
and so I bought this digital to analog converter, the DAC, so I
Yeah,
could
yeah.
digitize my stuff. And one piece of equipment led to another piece of equipment till I wanna redo the guitar part on this, so I bought a mic, and then I gotta do this, and I gotta do that, and pretty soon I
I
wound
am.
up with a recording studio.
There you go. There, well, that's one of my questions is studio. Are recording everything on your own? Are you doing all the instrumentals, or are you having people come in and laying tracks down?
I'm doing everything except the piano, and I'm even doing some of the pianos, but my
Oh,
brother in Oklahoma is doing tracks there, and we set up a little music room for him, and he can MIDI to his PC, and over the internet, I actually do the recording for him in Oklahoma with me here in Florida, and when he's done and he's got what he's liked, and we've punched him in to correct a few mistakes and do some things, and I copy that file here and add it to the rest of the stuff. It's
okay.
pretty interesting.
That's cool. And technology, thank you for technology to be able to do that because we couldn't
Yes.
send it in the mail.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a good way to do it, and we're
This
having
is
a
a
lot.
good way to do it. This is a good way.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. Are you able to play out? Are you playing your music out anywhere?
That is a very common question, and it's a very
Yes.
good question, and I don't have a good answer. My answer is no,
Okay.
I'm not playing out.
Okay.
Um, I'm I'm having so much fun doing this. I'm not sure if I want to play out, because I'm gonna have to schlep equipment again, unless I
Right.
find a venue that's got a PA system already there, and I haven't found one around here that just takes a
Oh, okay.
guitar player and a singer, or I've gotta invest some resources in starting a band and that's a business.
That
I
it's
I
a
don't
bit.
know if I wanna be in business again.
Well, true. Like you said, you're in your retirement. You're doing what you want to do because you love to do it, but you do it when you want to do it. And you hang it up when you
Right.
don't.
Right. I mean, and there's certain rules you have to follow, of course, but I don't think being on the road is something that I wanna do now. I might change my mind next year, or somebody might come up and say, "Man, I really loved your last album. I would love to help you put together a band so we can go play over at Margaritaville, or we can go play over at the Marriott Hotel, or we can do this sort of thing, or we got a band coming through town that needs somebody to open the show for them." Then
Sure,
I'd step up to that. But
yeah.
I just
Okay.
don't want I don't wanna be the musician and the sound man. that
Right,
I'm
right.
66 years
You got to do
old.
it all.
I can't carry a sound system upstairs anymore.
Right, right. I never held my drummer. It was like, I'm not breaking my back. So now, did you ever think, you're not playing out, but a lot of places out there, they have their, acoustic nights,
Mhm.
and you ever think of just grabbing the acoustic guitar, going out there and doing it, an open mic or
Yes.
something?
Yes, and that's something I very well might do. In
Oh,
fact, around here once a year, I think it's sometime in the spring or the summer, they have the music festival, and it's all over South Florida in this
oh,
area. Just about any restaurant, any street corner, there's people like that doing stuff all over the place. And
sweet.
I thought seriously about joining that in the next year or
You
two.
should. You definitely
Yeah,
should, Terry.
yeah.
Definitely.
I
How's
think
your
I'm set
voice
up.
feeling? You think I can get a song out of you, Terry?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think I can do Like It or Not.
Well, Terry's going to give it a try. Like I said, a little raspy voice, but that's all right. So,
Yeah, yeah, I'll just do it. I think I told you before, if Joe Cocker can do it, I'm game.
that's right. Here's Terry Dan, everybody.
So the story behind this song is that while I was out of the music business for 27 years, I worked for a mining company in their IT department, and a new IT director from the company was from Belgium. A new Belgian group IT director came in with a 5-year vision for the company, and I
Okay.
wasn't going to be there for 5 more years. So
I
they asked me to leave. They
don't
they
see the
gave
vision.
they gave me a good package. It was all amicable, and we had a good time, and it was a wonderful working for the company, and
Right.
I have nothing bad to say about them, but it's still I had to write a song about it.
I
So
love
I hope they don't take any offense, but there's nothing bad about the song is all about having unexpectedly losing your job and still being able to handle it and making a good thing out of it. So
right. There you go.
here, here we go. Let's see.
Here we go.
Oh, this is a funny story before I start. My I told you my brother was playing piano on me. He was playing on. So I said, "Man, I got this song. I'm writing it now." I was telling him when I was writing it, and I'd already started the album that wound up being the title of the album came from this song. But I said, "I've got this song. I'm going to send it to you, and you let me know what you think about it." And so I started out with this thing that sounded kind of like the Pina Colada song. And I thought that sounded familiar, but I couldn't place it. So I went ahead and did my little demo for my brother, and I sent it to him, and he listened to it right away. He says, "Man, that sounds a lot like the Pina Colada song." Okay, I got to change something here. So by the time I put all the instruments on it, it was okay. But it's called the Like It or Not. Riding the desk day after day, scratching for whatever I got. Gotta do this, gotta do that, whether I like it or not. At the end of the line, clocking my time, they threw me a wink and a watch. Showed me the door, I don't work anymore, whether I like it or not. I guess I'll go for a run on the beach in the sun, grab a cold beer and soak up some hot. Have a good time for the rest of my life, whether I like it or not. The subtropical heat is humid and sweet. I love how it tingles my skin. If I watch anything, it won't be a clock. I'll never have to do that again. On my way out the door to lay on the shore, I'll grab something good off the shelf. I'm back once more for my afternoon chore. These books aren't gonna read themselves. So I'll go for a run on the beach in the sun, grab a cold beer and soak up some hot. Have a good time for the rest of my life, whether I like it or not. Yeah, I'm gonna go for a run on the beach in the sun, grab a cold beer and soak up some hot. Have a good time for the rest of my life, whether I like it or not.
Oh, yeah, I love that, Terry. That's good old calypso music right there.
Now you could imagine a little steel drum behind there. I'll tell you
Oh,
another story about that one. There was a line that I got from the song many years ago when I was sitting on the beach in Aruba on vacation with myself, my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, and my wife. That's how come we were kind of lined up, where my brother-in-law was on the end of it. And we were all sitting there reading our books. And pretty soon, when you do that on the beach, if this ever happened to you, you know what I'm talking about. You stop reading, you just start being mesmerized by the water coming into the beach.
Yeah.
All of us were sitting like that. And my brother-in-law was looking over and he said, these books aren't going to read themselves.
You're all memorized by the waves.
That's a line I wrote that line down, and maybe, I don't know, 8 or 9 years later, I got to put it in a song.
Nice. I love that song and all the songs. We might be able to get another one out of them. Who knows? Now, before we get a little further into our interview, please, Terry, tell everybody on Podcast Land where they can find your music and what you're about.
Well, since I've got all my songs distributed on one of the major distributing companies. They go out to Spotify, YouTube, Apple, Bandcamp, all of them. There's about 150 streaming services worldwide
that's amazing.
David distributes to. So and for $10, you too can have your album out.
There you go.
But you can also hear me see me on things like TikTok and Rumble. Parler when it works. I don't know what's happening with them anymore, but even VoWave and Discord. So there's LinkedIn popping up everywhere.
Just type in Terry Dan. You're going to find Terry.
Now, there's another Terry Dan out there, and he's not. I don't think he's doing anything as active as I am. So you're going to find somebody else that's Terry Dan, and there's also a Dan Terry.
There's a Dan Terry. I'm sure there is.
Who knew? I didn't. I had no idea I was going to find that. So, if you look, my picture's out there too. So I'm the only one that looks like this.
That's great. Now, I was looking around and I see you got quite a lot of fans that love what you're doing, my friend. What do you think of that?
Well, I think that's awesome. That's kind of what you wake up every day and hope to have happen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That is definitely there. Now, back when you're young, you had the label and all that, but any PR help with your music at all, or is it just Terry?
Well, right now it's just Terry. It's just me doing what I do. And one of the things, besides the social media, which is something that I'm learning, there's a lot to learn about that.
Yeah.
I'm also going back to my roots and doing some radio. So I've built up about, I want to say, I think I might have this number wrong, but it's somewhere around 400 radio stations that I'm sending to. Now, there's no way for me to know that they're all playing it.
Right.
But I think a lot of them are, because I run into them seeing that they've got a chat group. I check them out once in a while. I check your show out, and I go and I'll check out the radio stations that I think are playing my songs and just to see what their format is. And if I don't want to send my song to a rap station, or religious one probably wouldn't play mine either. So I'll go check them out and find out if the format fits. And so I was on this one chat group, and it was an outfit called Party Central. And one of the DJs, who's DJ Ninja, is what he called himself. He's a super nice guy. Well, he's got his logo's in one of the Ninja Turtles. It's a fun radio station. And I said, "Hey, Ninja, how are you doing? My name's Terry Dan. I'm doing okay. How are you guys doing?" And somebody else on there said, "Terry Dan is a recording artist." And Ninja types back, "Oh, is that true?" And somebody else said, "Yeah, did you write the song about losing your mind?" And I said, "Yes, I did." So it turns out these people already knew who I was, and that's happened a couple of times. So that's just, it blows me away when that happens. I don't understand it happening so quick, but there they were. And
there they were. That's beautiful. That's great that works, man. I love it.
I'm going out on radio, and that's something that I haven't done in many, many years, several decades. So I'm sort of using the old tactics on a new kind of a format. Now we've got a lot of pirates, and it's a lot of digital ones. There's not that many terrestrial radio stations now. Most of them that are out there are DABs and internet radio stations.
The internet's, a lot of that.
Oh. That's what I'm doing now, and it's a lot of fun. I'm meeting a lot of new people, and I met you. That's how I met you. I came across your name,
great.
So yeah.
Well, good. I love it. I'm glad we hooked up and stuff. This is great, Terry. Now I got some fun questions I got to hit you up on, and let's see what
Okay.
kind of answers we get. Oh boy, here we go. All right. Well, I'm gonna start you off soft. Okay, I'm not gonna hit you too hard.
Okay, I
Now,
don't need to put the black stripe across my eyes for this yet.
right. Okay. First question, two answers. These are people. A
Okay.
person that's alive, a person that has passed away. In your heart, since you were young to now, who have you always wanted to grace the stage with and perform with?
Oh, Jim Croce.
Yeah,
Um, and the live one would be Barry Gibb.
Barry Gibb. Wow,
Yes.
beautiful
Yes.
voice. He would go great with your music. Oh,
I would love to play with him because I know his personality. He's actually not that much different than Jim Croce. Um, and I know his love of music transcends personality. He's just himself, and I would love to just be myself and just sit and play a couple songs with him.
that would be beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. That just kind of came over me. I like that answer.
I
Whoa,
I actually did a cover of his, "To Love Somebody,"
did you
on
really?
my Like It or Not album. Yeah, it's there. It's near the end, and, but yeah,
Oh,
so I have a big respect for him. I never really got much into disco, but I still like their stuff. I listened to their disco music. Didn't listen to anybody else's, but I listened to the Bee Gees.
The Bee Gees. Oh yeah, the Bee Gees are great. I love them too. All the
Yeah,
way. All right, let's go to this next question. Two
okay,
answers on this one too, and now we're going to think around the world.
okay.
Two stages anywhere in the world you want to perform on that you always wanted to.
Oh, um, Radio City Music Hall,
Yeah, there you go.
'cause acoustically, it's the perfect room to play in.
Yeah.
And around the world, there are so many possibilities. Well, I think I fell in love with France and Paris specifically. So I don't know what the venue name is, but somewhere probably around Paris.
There you
Because
go.
the French people really do like America. They don't like ugly Americans, but they like Americans overall. And everybody knows English. Well, not everybody, but most of
Right,
them.
for the most
The
part.
music goers do, so there wouldn't be a language barrier. And I know a little French too, although I've never sang anything in French. But yeah, I think I would like to play in Paris. That would be
That
fun.
that would be cool. That really would be. Now the next question, you kind of already answered it, and it's but I want to take you back when you were younger on this question here. You are young, you hit the stage, you start performing, and people are digging the music and they're moving and grooving. They might be singing your songs to you. I don't know. But
Mhm.
if they are and you see what's going on out there, how does it come back and hit you in the heart and make you feel?
It's such an elation. It's such an expansion of the heart when you hear that singing back to you. And I've seen people that were on stage when that happened to them, and some of them just stopped singing and started crying. It's in that it makes you feel such gratitude and such love from these people that not only did they come here they bought a ticket to see your show, but now they're singing to you.
Yeah, they are. Isn't
It's
that
it's
incredible?
huge. It's
It
huge. It's huge.
is. And you remember all those moments, each and every one of them. You get,
Every one of them, yeah. Not a lot have happened to me that way, but I've seen other people. But a couple of times, it's just really cool. The whole room starts singing your song, and it's your song. It's one that you wrote, one that
yeah,
it was on the radio, and that's how they knew about it. So you knew that you were a part of their life outside this
all
arena where
the
they're
venue.
singing right now. You're enough of their life, long enough that they learned your song.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
that's what all that means, and it means that you're part of their life, and it's pretty big, pretty
It,
big.
it is big because your words and your music can change a person's outlook on their thoughts and what's going on in their life. So it's amazing.
Mhm. Yes.
It is amazing. It's great. All right, good. Now, well, you just did Like It or Not.
Mhm.
There's a story behind that, isn't there?
Yes, that's the one about me being let go.
Okay, we won't get into that one too much.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's the one where I worked for the man for 27 years, and they
So,
gave me a
the boot.
package because I didn't
Jeez. Now there's another song that I listen to, and beautiful. All I can say, strictly, strictly beautiful. It hit me in the heart, brought a tear to my eye, and I'm lucky I don't come through this screen and knock you out. No, I'm just kidding. But that song right there was "If I Had a Million."
Oh, wow. Okay.
That is a beautiful, beautiful ballad song that you did there.
Yeah, I don't know if I can sing that one without the words in front of me.
Well, no, I'm not asking you to do it, but I'm just telling everybody out there that song you need to check out when you stop looking at the interview. Don't go anywhere yet. But
Okay.
that is an amazing song, my friend. And
Yeah.
I feel did you write that for your wife?
Uh, no, that was a period of time when I had just gotten married, probably to the wrong person.
Uh,
And so there was a lot of things that I was sort of bringing to fruition in my mind as to the way it could have been or should have been. And at the time, I didn't have. We grew up without much money, and but that didn't stop us from giving other things that we did have. We had love, and we had time, and we could help people do things. We could help them clean out a barn, or we could help them mow their yard. We could give of ourselves, and so words like a million, we didn't have $1 million. We certainly didn't have $1 billion, but we just didn't have a lot. And if you were talking about having $1 million of anything, that wound up being, you're talking about everything. So if I had $1 million, if all of my thoughts, if I had $1 million thoughts, I'd give them to you. If I had $1 million songs, I'd sing them to you. And that meant you were giving yourself to that person. So
yeah.
that's kind of what that song, and that's one of the things that Kenny Rogers said later, and I didn't realize this until he said it. He said that he does ballads that every woman wants to hear and every man wants to say.
Good way to put it.
That "If I Had a Million" is that song for me.
That is that song. That is that song. It speaks mega words, big time. It does. It's a great song. Now, this here I'm going to hold up. Talk to me about this.
Oh, ISSA. Singer-Songwriter Association. I belong to them, and I haven't done a whole lot with them. I track their activity on Facebook, but I haven't really developed much of a relationship with it. But I think since you did that, I'm going to. I need to
I
probably
hope
get
so.
more involved with that. I know they had a big thing in Nashville around last month or the month before.
It was August 24th. There was in Atlanta, the red carpet event where the awards were given.
A lot longer ago, but they're always doing something.
Yeah, they are.
It's kind of strange. I lived in Nashville for 30 years, and I didn't really get what I wanted out of Nashville, but I met a lot of nice people, and I enjoyed living there. I'm not saying it was a bad place, but now that I was getting ready to retire, I'm thinking I want to go to Florida, and like many of the other retirees, because it's warm, and I just got tired of being cold, and I like it. I want to relax and have a good time. Turns out, right after I left Nashville, I started meeting a lot of people that were in Nashville that would have probably been able to do something with me had I stayed there. So it's not a decision that I regret because, as I said, I'm retired now and I don't really want to be in business. I know others are. Willie Nelson is, everybody's still in business that's still in business. But I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing. And so, but I just thought it was very odd that after I retired and moved out of Nashville, these people are popping up in my life that could have helped me or done so I could have helped them.
Now, you're doing a lot of stuff. Now, have you ever thought, or have you, collaborations with anybody? Having somebody singing on your songs? Are you singing on their songs or doing anything?
Yeah, I think about it. I don't have a lot of connections with people that would be willing to do that. now that I respect a lot. The ones that I respect are sort of removed, but I have written. My wife and I have both collaborated with 2 or 3 people over the years, and we've written some good songs, but nothing that I was doing that because I thought it would expose me to something more important in my life. It's just these were good songwriters, and I wanted to sit down and write with them.
Right.
So that's really why I would want to collaborate with somebody, because I would know that they're a good songwriter and we could get some good material out of it. And then that in itself should be able to catapult you out with good
Oh
songs. I
yeah.
mean, everybody knows when this is a good song is a good song, and
That's
most of us know when a bad one's a bad one.
oh, we know. We
Not
know.
always, some of us do. Yeah.
Some of us do, right? Let's see, we're at 45 minutes. We got a couple more questions we asked Terry. But Terry, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I appreciate it, right, friend? Thank you
It's
so
it's
much.
a
It's a
lot of
lot
fun.
of fun. It's a lot of fun. So, all right. Now, you getting you're doing the radio. You doing any podcast, press, anything like that other than me?
I've not done podcasts, but per se, but I do a lot of radio interviews, and I did a show with a radio host this morning on he calls it the Toast and Jam. It's a really
Toasted
nice
Jam. I like that.
going to work radio show from 8 to 9 in
Nice.
Canada.
In
So
Canada. Cool.
yeah, so I do those, and I have a couple of radio shows to do about every month. Something pops up.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Now
All over
this
life.
This question here I want to ask, and you've been doing this a long time, so I'm thinking this probably can apply to you, this question here, and I don't know if you will tell me, but I hope so. Any embarrassing moments on stage you want to tell me about?
I can't think of any embarrassing ones, like, playing a whole set with your fly down or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, no, not really. More of it's kind of funny. The working in bars can set you up in a strange environment because there's alcohol involved.
Oh, yeah, it's a great thing.
That can change the trajectory of the evening depending on where the vertex is. So one day I'm setting up at the end of the bar, and that's where my stuff is. And along one side is seats, and along the other side is bar and seats. And this woman came in with her boyfriend, who was a cop, and they were sitting there and drinking and playing, and she was giving me some eyes and smiling. She really liked my music, and so I started singing to her, and she picked up one of the 20s off of her boyfriend's stack and put it in my tip jar, and her boyfriend didn't like that. But I didn't know that because I thought he was a good guy, and I started singing to her this love song like I meant it.
Oh, shit. Oh,
And
Terry.
he got really ripped and picked his drink up and threw it all over me. Some old big Scotch sticky thing. It got all over me and my guitar, and his buddies were also cops around him.
Oh, great.
They had one of his arms behind him, holding him back. He was going to come after me.
He was coming for you, Terry.
Oh, man, I wasn't ready for that. I had no idea what I was getting into, making eyes back at this woman. I had no reason for doing that other than it was just, acting. It was playing the moment, and I learned a lesson.
Yeah, real quick.
Can't do that
There.
anymore.
Just remember, you can always use that guitar if you need to. It hit somebody over the head.
Yeah. Oh, it cleaned up real nicely. Some of my guitars, I have one that's 55 years old,
Oh,
and that's been halfway around the world several times, and it's so aged and so cured that the neck has stiffened. I never have to change it anymore. It just sort of
right.
petrifies straight. So it's gonna
Petrified.
be fine for now on. And the other one's been beat up, and my gill that's hanging up over here behind me, that's the one that
Oh,
had the
the
drink.
girl, I see that. Nice. Do
Yeah,
you still have the very first guitar you ever bought?
yeah, that's the one that I played.
Is it? Oh, that's your. Oh, look at that.
This is the 55-year-old one.
But you can tell by the spruce.
It's just got a nice sound.
Oh, and around it.
And it's still got a good sound.
Oh, that's beautiful, and it's aged well. Oh, look at that.
It has.
That's
You know who
good.
Al Green is, right?
Yeah.
Or what? Al Green recorded in Memphis with Willie Mitchell, producer Willie Mitchell. And me and a friend of mine at the time, Vinny Fusco, Vinny Fusco was a manager and a sort of a motivator for some of the Bearsville Records guys back in the 60s with some of those people that were recording with them, like Bob Dylan and Randy Van Warmer and Janis Joplin and, those guys. So Vinny and I hooked up in New Jersey. And we flew to Nashville to talk to some people about a record company that he was thinking about starting. And then we decided we were going to go visit Willie Mitchell because Vinny knew Willie Mitchell. So we rented a Cadillac so we could drive into Memphis in style. We drove that from Nashville to Memphis. And we saw Willie's studio, and he brought us over to his house, and his wife cooked dinner for us. And after dinner, we sat around his living room playing. He played piano, and I played guitar. And I pulled this guitar out, and he heard that guitar. And he offered to buy the guitar from me.
I would say he probably offered money for it.
I didn't want to sell it. At the time, it was my only guitar. I didn't want to have to go try to buy another. But it does sound, for Yamaha, that guitar cost me new, it was $200. That's it. I wouldn't buy a $200 guitar now, but that one. That back then, in those days, it was pretty good. And now, on a Yamaha FG200, you still don't pay any more than $250, maybe $260.
Right, less than $300. Yeah.
But back in those days, that was a lot
of money. That's a great.
Now, it's had work. Luthier's been working all over that thing for years. I always have it refretted and planed down, but there's not anything structurally wrong with it. It sounds really good.
Man, that's a beautiful guitar. All right, let's see. One more question before we get out of here, people, for Terry. And this one is for the little ones out there. Any advice for these kids out there that want to do what we do?
Yes. I think one of the biggest things that I recognized that helped me, and I realized this too at a later age, you need two kinds of people around you. You need support from them, but you need family and people that love you to give you the support and the encouragement and the accolades and credit, even when you don't deserve it, because it keeps your confidence up. And you need, they're like they're your training wheels. You depend on them, smile at them, thank them for telling you your music's good, and then keep trying to improve. The second kind of people that you are going to need is going to be hard, because you need the kind of people that don't have a stake in you.
That's right.
To listen to your stuff.
Yeah.
And if they like it, they'll tell you. If they don't like it, they'll tell you that as well. Or somehow you'll know, and the lucky ones will tell you why they don't like your stuff. Right. And that is a gift.
It is.
Feedback is a gift. Feedback. Yes. I think if I were to encapsulate that whole thing, I would say feedback is a gift. Treat it like a present. Unwrap it and take care of it.
I agree. I think criticism is the best thing for a musician because it makes you work a little harder.
Yeah. And I tell you who told me that? The boss that fired me from my mining company job. He's the one that instilled that. Yeah.
Is he still around? Me and you need to go fly out and have a talk with him.
Yes, he's still around. He's a good man. He did me well, and he taught me feedback is a gift. And I took it that way. Yeah.
Good deal, my friend. Terry Dan's in the house, everybody. Now you can go check out his music. Terry, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming on the No Cover TV podcast, my friend. I want to have you back in 6 months or a year to see what's happening.
I will do it in a heartbeat. This has been terrific. Lots of fun. Thank you. You're a genteel host.
Thank you very much. It's your show. How you want to end it? Anybody you want to say hi to, hey to?
I'll just, if any of my fans are out there watching, thank you. I love you. I'm going to be recording more and look for more and greater things coming out in the future.
People.
I'll have a Christmas album out for next year. I learned this year that everybody loves new Christmas songs.
Right, they do.
I'm going to write a couple and do some old ones, but we'll get some new material out.
Great deal, Terry. All right, my friend. We're going to get out of here. Everybody check out all the No Cover TV podcast shows and the future ones because we are busy and we got people from all over the world, all genres and age groups coming on the show. So, Terry, thank you so much, my friend. We're going to get out of here. Tell each and every one of you, thank you so much. Peace. We're out of here.